What's going on, everyone? It's the man Soul back with another video. Today I'm going to give some commentary to my challenge mode SCHOLOMANCE Gold run. A surprisingly easy run, to be quite honest with you. I had some pretty low expectations for SCHOLOMANCE as in terms of how difficult it was. Like I didn't think it would be that easy, but it really showed to be just a pretty easy dungeon. So as we start the fight here, you'll notice that almost all of us have the polyformic acid. What we did prior to starting the challenge mode run was we set it to normal and we just kind of blitzed straight to Professor Slate, and all of us clicked the polyformic acid buff, and then we reset it to challenge mode in order for us to be able to use this buff on Dark Master Gandling. So it's a nice little way to get some extra damage in kind of the final push here. But as you can see, these first two skeletons don't really cause too much trouble for me to tank them. I think I didn't pull them into the boss just to kind of keep things on the safe side. We had kind of did some limit testing runs where having these guys plus the extra skeletons did prove challenging. Pardon me. So we opted to just kill them up top and then jump right into the boss here. And the boss doesn't do anything major, anything different. It's just kind of tank and spank. He still does have these skeletons roaming around, so I pull one in and we're kind of just blasting the boss. Make sure you watch out for circles on the ground. But again, this is a very easy, clean fight that doesn't really change from heroic to challenge mode. As long as you are just kind of rolling your defensives naturally, you will have no problem tanking this fight. No real tricks here. So we're blasting the boss. And I'll say this about the skeletons. They really don't do anything. They leave a debuff that really isn't that threatening. So it's pretty safe to tank them as well with the boss, and you can kind of just drag them along. Again, they don't do anything really threatening. So here the ice wall is getting kind of close, but we managed it, and then I just dragged them back into the phylactery, and we're just now cleaving and blasting the phylactery down. Super simple, super easy, nothing else really to see here. And this is kind of, believe it or not, this right here is probably the hardest part of the entire run, is killing the first boss and getting to the phylactery phase before that ice wall kind of kills everybody. So if you're able to do this, you kind of can say GG to the rest of the dungeon. There's really no real pain points here. I'm going to show you some wall pulls that we did to kind of make the pulls a lot easier, a lot more manageable, and a lot more stacked for people to just kind of AoE and mow it down. Going by our comp, so there's nothing really specific I would have said. Maybe a rogue would have been more preferable to add to the DPS lineup, because the rogue can help you skip that last student pack in Professor Slate's room. But that'd have been it. Everything else, you could kind of take what you want. So we're on our way to Jandice, and you see I pull the skeleton from the hallway into this room, and then I pull the candlestick mages. I'll say this, you got to kind of be careful with the candlestick mages. Pulling too much of them can kill you, so that's why I pull two at a time. So I pull two plus the skeleton, and I don't go into Jandice's side and pull those other candlestick mages, because they can be kind of threatening if you let them be. But other than that, we kind of just cleave them down. As you can see here, none too hard to handle for a blood DK. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Then we move on to the other side. I'm just clearing these skeletons because you don't want them hitting your range DPS or your healer and, giving that spell pushback. So I kind of just kill them easily. But we pull the other candlestick mages. And again, I'm just rolling defenses, making sure that I don't get the debuff from them. So I pop AMS here. And we're kind of just cleaving them down. After AMS, I put up Vamp Blood. And we're still just mowing them down. Nothing too serious here. As you can see, my healer really isn't having to spam heal me. I'm able to shave off a lot of that damage with my own healing. So again, nothing to see here. Last candlestick mage dies. We pull up to Jandice. Really not much to see here. I clear out some of these skeletons just so they're not hitting anybody during the AoE phase. And this is the first little tip that it's cool to bring a Death Knight when you're tanking this fight. So Jandice has the Wondrous Rapidity, the big channeled wave that she does. A Death Knight can throw up Dark Simulacrum, as I just did here, and then start channeling it myself. And you can see it does a lot of damage if you look at the details meter, or you just look at my scrolling combat text on the side there. It was doing like 175k per tick. Like, that's a lot of damage. So you can copy, I think, every other one. So that's just a lot of damage. Help you blow through this fight easily. And then in this spin phase, technically you could run all the way back to the bookcases and line of sight her, but we had some complications with it in our test run, so we just opted to just kind of do this phase the right way, kill these one by one, and find the real one. Now, I will say this: if you try to just AoE all of them at the same time, they're gonna explode, and without a large chain of cooldowns, your group is gonna die. We know from experience. We tried it, and we tried to blow them all up, and it just killed us. So go one by one. It'll go fast, I promise. As you can see, I missed the Dark Sim. Actually, I didn't miss the Dark Sim, but the Dark Sim is on CD here, so I couldn't copy that one. But yeah, Jandice is a pretty easy fight, especially if you have a Death Knight with you who can copy that and just kind of really melt her health bar. This is a pretty easy fight. Then we go back into the spinny phase, and again, we kill these one by one, making sure we don't overwhelm our healer with unnecessary party damage. So blast 1, blast 2, blast 3, blast 4, and unironically, the same one that was the original on the first phase is now the original on the second. So we're back. Here I actually do miss the Wondrous Rapidity cast. It's unfortunate, but it really wasn't necessary. So I take a couple ticks because I didn't move because I'm silly. And we finish off Jandice. Easy peasy, no harm, no foul. Now we're about to move into Rattlegore's room. And for Rattlegore, because it's so difficult moving these mobs, like you can't grip them, you can't do anything, what we did was we had our Hunter pull an MD one side to me. I pulled the other side, which in this case was the right side, and then we all LOS. And then they're all going to come running in, and then I face them away. It's very important that you face them away because that bone spike that they do, that bone spike cast that they do, will hit somebody behind you if you're tanking them in a way that they're facing the party. So you just spin around and you pop some big CDs. I pop Icebound Fortitude here because they're all casting at the same time, kind of hitting me. So I want to mitigate a lot of that damage. And we're just kind of blowing them up, blowing them up, blowing them up. And this is also another time saver because you don't have to spend time running around to each one, killing one. You don't have to spend time having your DPS fan out and kill one at a time super slowly. You can all just kind of group them together and kind of melt them down really, really efficiently. So we finish up the last one, and then we head into Rattlegore's room. And Rattlegore is another one that's like, it doesn't really change from Heroic, other than you really can't just face tank him the whole time. You definitely want to start moving. For me, I think I was moving between the 7 and 10 mark. I don't think I ever really let him get to more than 10 stacks and allowed me to tank him. Like, I started kind of booking it just to play safe. So other than that, your Rattlegore is pretty much treat him with respect, and then you'll win. I will say for DPS, you almost 1000% just need to have your Bone Shield up at all times. His Bone Shield will kill you immediately. So make sure you always have that up, especially if he has high stacks. Yeah, he'll turn and kill somebody. So make sure you always have a Bone Shield. If you're a tank, just make sure you're rotating your CDs. And once he starts hitting that, like I said, that 7, 8 stack marker, that's when you kind of want to think about kiting. And then I start doing it. So keep that in mind. You can see how he starts chunking me, and I'm like, all right, time to book it. So make sure you don't just willingly run into these fires as well. That would just be unnecessary damage that you didn't have to take. And then once his stacks drop, you turn right back around and, you know, you put the beaters to him. It ain't really much going on here. So, and now we're back. No DPS has died. Everyone's pretty much doing a good job keeping their Bone Shield debuff up. So really solid work here. We're just going to melt him down some more. See, he's starting to chunk me with those higher stacks, but I'm still staying solid. Still got some CDs to run through, so I'm trying to make it as efficient as I can. And now I realized that I'm, you know, playing with fate here. We're going to keep it moving. So I'm going to move. Kind of kite him in a way in the direction we're already going, so we don't have to really worry about it. And then I realized, his stacks have dropped. I can now fight him again and add some damage to with my party. Throw up a little execute damage here. Even though I think I forgot to use Soul Reaper on this guy, but it is what it is. And goodbye, Rattlegore. Easy, see? And now we're heading into the next room, which, in my opinion, is the my favorite room. Although this room is also considered like a difficult room if your damage isn't there. So I pull 3 of these scientists, and I pull the 4th one. I death grip it over, and I pull the flesh giant or the flesh horror. And this allows me to get a very, very large vengeance stack, and allows me to double spread my diseases. And now you can tell once I get the high vengeance in some of my dancing room weapon, and I do a double disease spread, it's pretty much GG. You can look at the damage meters, and that shit speaks for itself. So I replicate that. I pull right into this next group, get all my diseases spread. Now I can't summon my dancing room weapon again and get a double spread, but that's okay because my vengeance is high enough that the regular disease will do its work. I put Death and Decay down, and I just start going to work, hammering away, straight up melting this whole pack. And that's kind of one of my favorite things about Mop. Mop is very much so where tank skill expression is at the forefront. You can definitely tell the difference between a good tank and a great tank, and pulls like that kind of matter. If I was, a lesser experienced player tank player, I probably wouldn't do nearly as much damage, right? And that would make that pack a lot slower, adds more time, so on and so forth. So here we have Lilian Voss, and the big thing with Lilian Voss is you want to try to kill her before she separates her spirit from her physical body. I'll just say, TLDR, we didn't do it. We didn't have enough DPS to do that here, but we got quite close. But that's kind of the biggest time saver in here, right? If you can kill Lilian Voss before she fully separates her spirit from her body, then you just saved a monstrous amount of time. But unfortunately we didn't get a chance to do that. We came pretty close. You can see we popped Lust. I popped Army. Now I'm gonna be honest, I probably shouldn't have popped Army right there. I probably should just kept unloading with my rune strikes and stuff like that, but it was a calculated risk, but I don't know if that risk paid off as well as I thought it would. So she's going into her phase. She's separating. I'm trying to put up as many Soul Reapers as I can. We're getting there. We're getting close. And unfortunately, we just are short of it. And it's unfortunate. Now we've got to nuke down a whole new full health bar of Lilian Voss. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We kind of took it in stride. I called in Discord that, hey, listen, don't lose focus. Just straight up treat it like it's regular. It is what it is. And just, kind of mow her down. So here we're finishing up Lilian Voss's spirit. As you can see, we're not letting anyone catch her. Or we're not letting her catch up to anyone, I should say. And yeah, this is an unfortunate just time sink, but it is what it is. So my advice is, if you can't break her down before you get into this phase, just tell everyone stay calm, keep focus, and continue to mow her down, because you don't want people to lose focus or slow down, because that's just going to add more time to your failure of the gold timing. So now that she is done and she is about to reunite with her body, she's super low, from our last phase, and she's done. So yeah, unfortunate that we didn't get a chance to kill her before she separated, but it is what it is. And then next up is Professor Slate's room, and this is another one where a pretty good pull can help you just kind of efficiently clean these down. So I had our hunter shoot Professor Slate himself. I pulled the mobs, and then we run back and do a kind of a wall LOS, and we stack up and we kill them. Fun fact also is that your polymorphic acid will also work on Professor Slate, so not just Gambling, but this guy as well, so it'll help save some time here. And that's really what challenge mode is all about. Like, where can you save the most time, especially for some of the tighter timers like Storm Stout and Mogushan Palace. Like, that's where you want to save time. So you can see like the green streams of polyformic acid just straight up melting these students and Professor Slate down. This way we don't have to have us fighting that weird, LOS spots with the steps and stuff like that. It's easy for us just to kind of focus him and his students down. He doesn't do anything special, so you can just tank him as you normally would tank anything. He gets real big, and I honestly don't even notice it. I'm shaving off his alien, don't even care. Putting the rune strike right to his face, and he is a dead lad. Now, I will say for this next part coming up, there's a number of ways you can handle it. We just kind of chose the safest route, which was invis skipping it. Now, that did unfortunately put our combat potions on cooldown, but it was the safest method again. We could have had our hunter pull this group closest to the stairs, have us run around, have him feign death and then camouflage in. That would have been one way. If you have access to a row, you can shroud this. Obviously, that's another way, but we just kind of chose the safest option, which was invising. And because all of us had polyformic acid, the potion loss was less than we thought, and we kind of reached this room with, you know, super good on time, super good, and we're just kind of laying into Dark Master Gantling. And even when he teleports someone, as you can see, he teleports me to the other room. It really doesn't matter. Like, I spread my diseases and I just start kind of slaying all these undead things. They don't really do much. Like, yep, they're all dead, and I can get right back into the action and help kill Gandling, help get control of the mobs out there, and move on with life. So here I'm back out. I put down Death and Decay, throw out a couple blood boils, and I'm back putting belt to ass on Gandling. And that's really the dungeon. As you can see, like, Scholomance really isn't a hard dungeon to do. Like, Scholomance, to me, if you're starting out, like, if you've never done challenge modes or Mythic Plus or anything like that, maybe think about Scholomance as your first one to go into, because it's pretty forgiving on the timer. Like, even in some of the test runs we did, where we were kind of like feeling it out, we died, like, had a full wipe, and we still made it to Gandling and almost timed it. A full wipe, a full run in, a full run through of the whole place, and we almost timed it. So Scholomance has a very forgiving timer if you don't die, and if you kind of, even without the cheese, even without the Wondrous Rapidity cheese and stuff like that, like, even if you don't have a super high damage tank, like, you can still time. This is a pretty forgiving timer. So I would say Scholomance is a pretty solid start if you've never done challenge mode or Mythic Plus at all in its entirety. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of giving it to Gandling. Like, he's not really doing anything threatening to me. And yeah, that's really it. There's not really much more I can say other than you guys know the drill. Y'all have been great. I've been Soul, and I'm out. Peace. Also, more of these coming. So if you want to see those, like and subscribe. But yeah, peace.